Good morning and what's up, War Rapport family? Your man Ike Jones. We are here. Morning drop time. It is January 27th, Friday. Time to get in here. We are doing the Fan Question Friday, man. So whatever questions you guys have, we are here to answer for you, man. Let's get straight to it. Drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Rapport. Drop.
Yes, indeed. Morning drop time. Ike Jones, Mike G in the building. We are here. Fan Question Friday, man. So we're just gonna open it up. I actually, Mike, I let everybody in today. So we have, I didn't restrict it to members this morning. So
okay. Ike feeling
whoever
generous
wants to
this
jump
morning.
in
I
and
love it.
ask questions, listen, it's up to you guys to guide the conversations today. How you feeling this morning, Mike?
Not bad. Hugh Freeze was 10 miles from me yesterday.
Yeah.
Recruiting football players at my old high school. So Central Phoenix City is a really important recruiting spot for Auburn football. He is down there. Now, listen, Saban was down there, I think, today or yesterday, too. All the coaches are making their rounds, but, it's good to see him putting in the work to try to get Auburn football back to prominence here in the SEC West.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this pays dividends. See a couple of you guys going ahead and trickling in. Get your questions here in the chat, man, because, again, today is all about you all. Whatever you want to talk about today, well, I ain't going to say whatever you want to talk about. If y'all want to talk about some bull, then I hit you with that swift redirect. But I do want to hear what you guys have to say. I see some people jumping in, but while we're doing that, you guys go ahead and share this video. Listen, it's open to everybody today, man. Share the video. Get out there on the internet. Tell people to come chat with us. We'll be here for a few minutes chatting with you guys. So share the video. Go ahead and like the video because I know you're going to like what you have to hear us say. Or if you absolutely hate what you hear us say, like the video anyway. I don't care. The thumbs up is not a sign of approval. It's a sign of recognizing that you're here. So, all right, like it's like marking presence on the thing to let people know that you made it. Don't worry about whether or not you approve of our we don't take approval ratings here. Maybe we'll put out a survey or something to talk about approval. But yeah, go ahead and hit the thumbs up on the video. We appreciate it. But jump on in the live chat, man. No better time than to tell you that we're sponsored by the Rogue Shop right here, rogueshop.com. Use code Rapport for 10% off of your purchase. Listen, Valentine's Day is coming up. Get the candles.
Get the candles ready. Listen,
get your candles ready, man. Rogue Shop will hook you up.
Your resident candle expert, Mike G, is here to tell you that if you're trying to make it extra sexy this Valentine's Day, the Rogue Shop has what you need. All the candles, all the flavors. Don't eat the candles. I said flavors. Please don't eat the candles. The wax is not edible. But like
that was almost a commercial up until you said don't eat the candles. You was there. Actually,
like
it could be a funny Valentine's commercial. All the flavors.
Mike G said eat them. So anyway, Ike, before we get started, I know we're waiting on everybody to get in here. We got questions. I did want to talk a little bit about the recruiting effort on the recruiting trail by the staff. Sure. It's funny. I think that there's a lot of leftover animosity about what didn't get done by the last staff on the recruiting trail. Right. And so we are, when I say we, I mean, the fan base is celebrating regular ass recruiting is what he's supposed to be doing. Yeah. And so it's funny. There were a lot of stories. So I don't know what to extent. I don't know that anybody really knows, except for a few people, to what extent recruiting was not getting done in this manner. But what I do know is perception is reality. And Hugh Freeze seems to understand that. So he's not going to let the perception be that he's not out there on the recruiting trail. Now, I bet you that is something that his staff and some people within the athletic department, hipped into the game about. Hey, buddy, the perception of the last coach was he wasn't out there busting tail on a recruiting trail. He was missing things. He wasn't where he's supposed to be. He wasn't talking to coaches, high school coaches, allegedly. And I'm saying allegedly. We're saying that he wasn't. We hadn't seen him.
Yeah.
We've never met him. We don't know who he is. And Hugh Freeze has taken that and said, and then it went, Haley's tripping me out in the comments. I'm laughing here. It was, he's taken that, I think, seriously. and turn the conversation around that to not create additional distractions for the program, because he's got enough right now.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, he brought distractions in with him. He brought some distractions in with him, because I can't post on Twitter and just say, hey, man, this man is recruiting hard without 10 people making a joke
Right.
about, something in the past, which to me, again, I get it. I know people are going to do that. To me, it's in poor form, and it's intellectually lazy, but, it is what it is. Like, that's the lot he drew. So, where I'm at about this is Hugh Freeze is doing the job. At some point, we got to stop celebrating him doing just what all the other coaches are doing. Alex Saban and Dabo and and all the other guys that we saw pictures of down at Tampa Catholic with our guy Jarris McIntyre, and then Patrick Nix at Central High School. It's not like they're not doing it. They understand. Right. So he understands that he's doing it. He just is not going to be out-recruited or out-efforted by these guys, who are his peers within the SEC and within the region. So right. It's really important to just remember, hey, this is what he's supposed to be doing. This is what he's here to do. This is what Auburn has hired him to do. And we'll see what the results of that are. But if anything, the narrative won't be he didn't get guys because he wasn't out there with these other guys at the same level, with the same try hard, trying to make sure that Auburn gets their fair share of the guys in this recruiting class, in the portal, or wherever they may be.
Yeah, I think that's important that, we were joking last night about the appearance of busy, right? Like just looking like you're doing something means something to a lot of people. And Hugh Freeze is like, listen, man, I'm not gonna look like I'm not working. But the question is, for me, ultimately, the results are what's going to matter. And that's what is going to be damning. It's like, if you're not looking like you're working and your results suck, why are you here? Right. But if you're giving a bunch of effort, then we can tolerate the results not being. It's like, well, it wasn't because he wasn't working hard. So maybe we need to figure something else out. Maybe it was had the wrong staff. All right, well, we'll get him some new staff. Or maybe we didn't have the right NIL plan. Well, we'll figure the NIL thing out. Or, all right, well, we need to. So his efforts buy him time, essentially, right? Like now all he has to do is not screw it up by not going out there and, land 3 wins on the table against UMass, New Mexico State, and Vandy being your only W's of the season, right?
All right. What's interesting? Caesar posed a question last night. What's an effective recruiting pitch to recruits right now?
Yeah.
And, when he goes into the living room, what is he saying? I don't know that many of the parents or the recruits are wondering or care about his past. I think they care about what he's going to do moving forward and what his plan is for their child.
Right.
There may be some. I'm not saying none.
There definitely will be some. But, by and large, I think the conversation is going to be about what can this program do for my kid. And if he has to answer those questions, then the reality is that Auburn fans have made that a conversation still, right? Like we're continuing that conversation and wanting that conversation to be a part of the narrative. If we would just stop talking about it, maybe other people would stop talking about it as well. But again, here when I say things like that, people are like, no, I'll never get. I'm not telling you to stop how you feel.
Right.
I'm not telling you to change your feelings about it. Right. But we're a part of this space where people feel like they need to announce their frustrations to everybody else. Sometimes it's okay to be frustrated and silent at the same time.
Yeah.
I know what that sounds like. That sounds like me telling you to just shut up and deal with it. I'm not telling you to shut up and deal with it. I'm telling you, stop trying to put how you feel on me and try to make me change how I feel. Because I'm not doing the same thing to you. I'm not telling you to change how you feel. I'm saying, why you keep telling me you feel like that?
Yeah.
Like every time I say something, you want to tell me how you feel about the situation. It's like, why?
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I muted a lot of people on Twitter over this Hugh Freeze thing. I have muted people and I won't block you because again, but at some point I'm just tired of hearing about it. Right. Like until he gives us something else to talk about.
Yeah.
And some people are just on this. I was like, because here's my deal. I'm probably going to, the politically correct mob is going to come for me after I say this, I know. But
it is what it is.
If you didn't care about anything he did before he came to Auburn, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure why you're so loud about it now. It is one of those things where, yeah, he's coming to your school, sure. But like, this whole thing where we protest anybody getting a job that's ever made a mistake in the past, right? Like, when a felon gets out of jail and is trying to get his life together, do we stand outside McDonald's and say, no, you're a felon? You stole a car once, you can't work. We don't. And, he is high profile. And I think that, the idea that he makes a lot of money to do what he does kind of drives some of what, that protest is. But, at the end of the day, he's not in jail, right? He hasn't been charged with a crime. We've acknowledged it. Hey, man, poor decision making, sure.
For sure.
But is it worth him not ever being able to work doing the thing that he does again? I'm not so sure. And, he said it, and I agree with it. There's a lot of us, if our mistakes were as public as his, we'd be having some very uncomfortable conversations with a lot of people we know.
Right.
And even then, a lot of folks might not care. As long as, if we're not making millions of dollars to have some job, we see it in the corporate world as well, too. When a CEO does something, when a CEO is bringing in a bunch of stock bonuses and, does something, it's a big deal. He takes a hit, he takes a PR hit, and sometimes, a lot of times, he loses his job. In that profession, it is harder to come back as a CEO after scandal. So I just don't. I like I said, man, I'm all about forgiveness. It doesn't mean we have to forget. Because trust me, if there is a slip up, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, for sure.
And we're going to talk about it like it deserves to be talked about. Until then, it's time to talk football. Let's cover the football team. So, Twitter warriors, pipe down, right? And if the things that concern you, because there's some very serious issues that concern some of the people who have concerns. Like, I don't begrudge you that. All I would do is challenge you to make sure that you have all the facts and that you've looked at it completely objectively, because there is a lot of misdirection out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what actually happened, who's culpable for what. And I'll end by saying this, Ike, before we get to some of these questions. A football coach cannot be 100% responsible for what 100 guys do at every point of their day. He just can't. That is an emerging narrative. Some guy who played under Hugh Freeze one time did something, and he's responsible somehow. And we're saying, and we're implying that because we're mentioning that he played under Hugh Freeze, not just he played at Liberty, which is completely relevant, under Hugh Freeze. Come on, man. I just think that's a weak argument. I don't like it. Time to move on, right? Like, if we're gonna criticize every, do that to every coach. You can do that to every coach in America.
Yeah.
Are we holding Nate Oats responsible for what his player did? It's the same thing.
Not. Yeah.
Right.
I would hope not. But again, I'm sure there are people who are, right? I'm sure there are people who have said, man, Nate Oats can't control his players or done. And it's like, that's not on Nate Oats, man. That player made a decision to do a thing, and he has to suffer those consequences. But here's the thing: that player made that decision to do that thing. Whatever happens around the legality of that, if he ever, like, I don't know all the details. I don't really want to get into the details of. I don't know all the details to talk about it. But let's say he's, released back out into the general population. Does he deserve to never play basketball again? The answer to that is no. He does. If he can still hoop, then he should be able to play ball somewhere. Will he get that shot? I have no clue.
Yeah, like,
but
listen,
people aren't going to let him forget it.
Yeah, people are going to let him forget it. And listen, that might be a really tough redemption story because of the PR hit somebody's going to have to take to bring him onto their squad. And neither is right or wrong, is all I'm saying. Neither is right or wrong. If I run an organization, I don't know if I'm bringing him on. I don't know if it's worth it. Can he hoop that? Can he hoop that good? No, I'm willing to forget murder. Probably not. But I'm saying, but to your point is,
but what if they end up saying, oh, he was there, but he didn't pull the trigger, or what I'm saying, like, but people aren't going to forget the narratives that persisted around it, And
Right.
so it won't matter what the results of the case are. All the thing that will matter is the narratives that existed.
Right. Right. So, I just wanted to say that this morning again, because every time I turn on my Twitter, it's there in my face. Somebody's telling me I'm a piece of crap for just mentioning that Hugh Freeze is doing what he's supposed to be doing on the recruiting trail.
Right.
Or making some really crass, stupid joke about something that happened in his past. Get over it. It's not original. You're not funny.
Like, so, I mean, like, and on a lighter note, right? Like, people who can't seem to, like, who always seem to want to make jokes. I posted a video yesterday on our channel. You guys go check it out. The top 9 throws from number 9, right? Robbie's number is 9. So I posted 9 throws from him that I thought were the best throws that he had from the season. And comments, and I knew they were coming as soon as I posted it. The comments were like, and it was only a couple of people, could you only find 9? I bet those were the only 9 good throws he had all year. And I was like, I knew people were going to say, or you couldn't even get to 10. And I'm just like, bro, like, is this where we are? Is this where we are?
Yeah, it was supposed to be clever. 9
Right.
throws from number 9.
Right.
And somehow you, again, so intellectually lazy that you didn't get that part and decided to make a joke about him only having 9 good throws.
Right.
Give me a break, man. Like, I'm just sorry. Like, listen, I got no energy. I got no energy right now for Hugh Freeze, pass, digger upper people. I don't know what we call them. And Robbie Ashford haters.
Yeah.
I don't. And people will be like, oh, you would get friends with Robbie and all this bull. Like, listen, man, at the end of the day, we have had the same energy for every quarterback in their first year, Ike. Since we started talking about the War Report, since you and I have been having conversations about Auburn football off screen and on camera, we have had the same energy for every first year quarterback. Going into year 2, you're hoping he makes the leap. If he doesn't, guess what? We're going to have the same energy we have for every quarterback going into year 3 who doesn't.
Right.
It's really that simple.
That's the bottom line. Like, again, I think people they entered into the conversation late with us on the first quarterback, and so they assumed that we were having different energy for the other quarterbacks. Like, no. I was hopeful as hell for Bo Nix in year 2, thinking, yes, there was some good, there was some bad. He was a freshman, right? Like, okay, yeah, he has freshman
it was a
moments
freshman,
when
a true freshman,
right?
A true freshman. And during that season where I saw some red flags, but I was like, no, but there were some good throws in there, and he won some games, and I think we went 9-4 that season. Did we win 9 games his freshman year? I think we won 9 games his freshman year. Yeah. There was a lot to look for going into year 2. There was. I was excited. I was like, listen, if this guy, I was buying the Malzahn, this guy is going to win championships before he leaves here. Hype. I was on that hype train, right?
Yeah.
Then year 2 came, and I was like, I don't know.
Right.
He didn't make the jump. Now,
it was literally the same guy the next season. You were like,
yeah.
Did you do nothing in the offseason? Like, what happened?
But it was the same coach the next season.
Yeah.
But I put a lot of that on Gus.
I mean, in retrospect, you definitely have to lay a lot of that at the feet of the person who was getting him prepared. But you still have to wonder. Here's my thing, right? Like, system be damned. You still have to understand that's a throw I can't make, or that's a decision I can't make, right? Like, I don't really care who coached you in those scenarios. The film is the film.
Mm-hmm.
The speed of the game is the speed of the game. None of those things. It just seemed as if, for whatever reason, a lot of quarterbacks didn't get better until they got away from Gus. And people can say, "Oh, Malik Willis said himself he wasn't preparing like he needed to."
Yeah, okay, but he still got better after he got away from Gus.
Listen, Bo Nix was even better year 1 under Harsin than he was 2 years under.
That's
Gus.
a fact. Listen, that is a fact. That is an undeniable fact.
Was he not prepared? I know.
He was having his best
We're bashing Gus again. I get it.
He was having his best season by a long shot before he got hurt.
Yeah,
against Mississippi State, and he was coming on.
Quarterbacks seem to get better.
Yeah,
when they get away from. I'm just saying.
Right. So, I mean, but you can't, after the history, you cannot, again, after year two, I had my doubts. I voiced them. And I had felt like that he had not done anything in the first 2 years that would suggest that somebody could not come in and take the job from him.
Yeah.
The same way people are saying, hey, man, Robbie hasn't done anything in year one to suggest that we can't bring in a portal QB that can take the job from him.
Right.
Listen, that's true. That's very true. Now, he has some gifts that most quarterbacks don't have that kind of hold those quarterbacks at bay. But if you're saying, listen, he could lose his job, you're absolutely right. He could. I'm not sure that he will. Just like I wasn't sure Bo was going to lose it in year two. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even a question. We weren't even talking about it.
Yeah.
After he had a very similar season. And without a quarterback carousel. You know what I mean? And without the mess of a system or whatever that was. Come on, man. I'm just like, keep the same energy. Everybody wants to dig back, right? And they have different energy sometimes for people in situations, and I'm over it. The Hugh Freeze, people who just got the shovel out and want to dig up the past. A lot of you I've seen in the comments talking about, hey, listen, we can forgive. That doesn't mean we have to forget anything you did.
Right.
We're not. We're still going to recognize red flags and past patterns.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing. I don't have to keep bringing it up to you, though.
Yeah.
Like, even if I haven't forgotten, doesn't mean I have to keep bringing it up. Because especially if you're not doing anything that reminds me of the thing. Right?
Yeah.
But like, if you're looking for everything and making that remind you of the thing, then you need, like, I suggest, I really do. And this is going to sound like a joke. I suggest therapy.
Yeah.
You've got some internal things that maybe you need to resolve, because everything can't be a trigger for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe your trigger is broken.
Some of these people, I would hate to be their friend, because they're never going to let me forget anything I ever did, ever. Right. And I'm telling you, I just feel like a lot of what we're watching is, I think it's hypocritical. And, people,
it's self-righteous is what it is.
It is. Like, listen, let me tell you something. I don't care how many games he wins. If this pops up again,
right.
And I'm talking just about the decision making. Hugh Freeze, you are above messaging some people or replying to some people. You just are. It doesn't matter what people say. You're in a space where you don't have to defend everything, because you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to convince.
Yeah, the court of public opinion is always going to crucify you. You will lose in that court every single time.
Every single time. Urban Meyer has made some very public mistakes recently. He's not in coaching currently, but should he get back into coaching, I know there's some people who just won't let him forget some of the stuff he did that got caught on camera.
Yeah. Listen, man, like, bro, I watched people go at the Kendall Briles hire. Right? Like, they were just like, and I was like, yo, he was at the school then, but that was basic. Like, people pretty much attributed that to his dad, but it's like, oh, the apple don't far from the tree, and he was there, he had to know. And I was like, yo, like, y'all really just, nobody is good enough for anything. Nobody, everybody is just, we gotta nail. Everybody has got a cross, and I got a few nails. Let me get my swing in.
Right.
I'm just like, yo, y'all gotta chill, man.
Yeah, listen, football is
Petrino hire got crucified. I'm just like, dang, bro. Like,
yeah, we get it. The motorcycle. And listen, the Petrino thing, it's funny. I think there are a lot of clever jokes out there about that.
Yeah, but I'm not just gonna keep telling the jokes over and over again every time. Well, you guys that hired Petrino, how can you say anything?
But you know what's funny is, I feel like a lot of those jokes are more in jest, and the stuff about Hugh Freeze is in malice, right? Like,
I think some people think they're being funny.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels a little bit more malicious when they're talking about Hugh Freeze. I guess because it's more recent, and the Petrino thing is just so removed. It's just kind of like, okay, but he can coach. You know he can call plays, and you know he can go coach quarterbacks.
Yeah, you know the
So,
same thing about Hugh Freeze, but
yep. So
anyway, let's get to these comments, man.
yeah, let's jump in
You guys
here.
are disappointing me. I thought y'all were gonna come in firing in with questions. We were trying
Yeah,
to make it all
yeah.
about y'all this morning, and y'all
Yeah,
just like
we got
you're
in a
like,
two-man therapy session.
I don't have any questions for you guys. But anyway, rogueshop.com is our sponsor today. Using code Rapport, man. Head over there. Maybe you need to mellow out a little bit. The Rogue Shop, hook you up, burn a candle.
Listen,
soak in some bath salts.
Every once in a while, you got to set the mood. And when that time comes, Rogue Shop has got you covered with every scent of candles, not flavor, but scent. To set the mood for your honey this Valentine's Day. RogueShop.com. Use code Rapport for more. Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, I did that for you.
That was actually for not for me at all. Riley says hashtag no 10 a.m. meetings game. So Riley on that Eastern Standard Time for sure. Appreciate you jumping in, making sure that office doors closed. Don't bother me during this time right now. Okay. I'm in meditation. Haley says that was kind of hot and then it went down. That was about
speaking of my first
earlier.
monologue. That's why I did it again. I did it again for Haley.
Yeah.
That way. So we didn't end it.
Steve Bradley says my coffee sure does taste good in this War Rapport mug. Thanks, guys.
I didn't have time to make mine this morning. It's sitting there on the counter. As soon as I'm done with y'all, I'm going to drink my coffee out of my War Rapport mug.
Leanne Owen says, morning. I was going to say hi at the game the other night, Mike, but you stayed in your seat working too long. Don't work too long.
Oh, okay. At the A&M game.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. You guys can always come up and say hi. I'm sitting next to Lance. I usually sit next to Lance. I think Ike sits next to Lance too while he's at the game. But you guys can always
the same seat.
Yeah, after the game, it doesn't matter. You guys can just come and say hi, right? There's a little, like right where we sit, there's a little aisle that comes down right by our seat.
Yeah. To the right of that section. It's like literally right by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just come say hi next time. I think Ike may be doing the next home game. I'll be at the Bama game. So like you guys
next game is Georgia, right? Georgia's our next home game, I think.
Are we is that home? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not doing that one. But I'll be at the Bama game. So yeah, you guys come say hi. Always come say hi.
Steve Bradley, I counted 31 players reporting tomorrow attending Junior Day. That should be more than we have seen in years. Also had a QB to cancel to go to Bama's Junior Day. Freeze will remember this crap. So it is reported that Air Nolan, who was scheduled to come down, is now attending Bama instead. So
That's a publicity stunt. That's a publicity stunt on his part. He was always going to Bama. Screw you. Like, we're going to remember that come Iron Bowl time if you sign with Bama.
It's going to be interesting, right? Like, are they going to pivot in the direction of the mobile QB, right? Nolan is more mobile. They've got the mobile guy right now whose name escapes me for some reason.
Who? You talking about currently on campus? You talking about Bama?
Yeah. Milroe. Yeah, Jalen Milroe. You're right. Yeah. So are they going to pivot in that direction and try to get more mobility from their quarterback position? Did Robbie Ashford running for so many yards on them in the Iron Bowl make them say, maybe we should try this mobile quarterback thing? Are they going to go back to the days of Jalen Hurts? We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see.
Valencia says people want to talk about a person's past, but quite honest, we all have a past, and just think if something came out that we have done. Who is without sin, and I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, listen, a couple shows ago, I bare my soul to you guys about Kirk Franklin and a certain story. Back then, I wouldn't have wanted anybody to know that it happened, right? I was ashamed. Today, I'm just like, I made a mistake. Turned out all right. I turned out all right. Nobody is coming and saying Mike G should not be on the War Rapport because of that thing that happened a long time ago with the Kirk Franklin CD. Right? They're not. Right. And I just told y'all about it. Where are the protests? There are none. It doesn't matter.
Cares about a God's property CD. It wasn't even his best one.
Brian
says, I told y'all Gus was the problem. Don't apologize. Keep bashing. I'm not bashing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I have not once ever bashed any player or any coach. I have told the truth about them. I don't bash them.
No. Like
who do I bash?
You've given Gus the business.
Did he deserve it? Is the question.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not bashing though. It's
It's not bashing.
it is bashing. It's
It's not
bashing.
bashing.
Yeah, semantics. Yeah, but I
Nah.
mean, you've gone on a whole monologues giving him the business.
Nah.
They've been amazing. I've loved it. I don't even know why you're not owning it.
Nah.
All right.
I've done worse. I've done worse to other people. But listen, I've only told the truth about them. Listen, if somebody tells the truth about you and you get offended, then change the truth.
Yeah. Brian's down here. He's saying two things can be true. It can be the truth and it can be bashing.
Nah.
So
Nah, I don't go out of my way to swerve and hit him in traffic or anything like that. Damian Smith says, is Freeze in regard to Harson/Malzahn stubborn when it like Harson and Malzahn, for example, stubborn when it comes to his system, in-game adjustments, or more malleable and open to game adjustments?
I'm gonna comment on this real quick. So I'm going to say no, solely based on the fact that it seems like he's giving up play calling. And he has called plays his entire life. Now he said that in his intro presser, he hinted that there's some guys that they were looking at for OC that could come in and do some things that he'd improve on his system. He felt like he had some things maybe for some of those guys that might improve what they do, and he gave the impression that he would take more of a collaborative approach to what they're doing offensively. But he has called plays his entire career. So if he wants to do it his way, I'm not solely against it. It just better work. Right? That's where I'm at with it. But I think
if it doesn't work, pivot away from it, right? Realize this isn't it. I need to get back into the seat.
Which is why why you collaborate with your offensive coordinator. They should be coming up with that together, because this guy is presumably bringing in something different than what Hugh Freeze has. So we should have that thing. We should have that pivot. It should be there.
Yeah. Hopefully we will see. I don't know. Stubbornness to a game plan is something I don't think I've paid enough attention to him to know whether or not he's going to be that guy. But we will find that out pretty early.
Maybe that's why they lost 4 games over the last.
No, a lot of that had to do with him being on his 4th string quarterback, right?
Okay, fair enough.
The productivity of I can't imagine very many teams in the country late in the season on their 4th quarterback that aren't named San Francisco that would do a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, and then after like the 3rd one, he's like, I'm going to Auburn anyway. Get this over with.
Derek Anderson says, QB question. You think Freeze isn't pressed to get a QB out of the portal because 1, Ashford is the guy, or 2, McCall is possibly coming as a grad transfer? I feel it's Ashford's job to lose. Definitely agree with this last statement. The first 2, I'll let you speak on it first, Mike, and then I'll give my thoughts.
I think if you get a guy, you get a guy. Get a guy who can come in to compete. I don't think they're not looking at portal QBs.
No, they've definitely been looking.
Yeah, but I don't think they're reaching.
Correct.
Just that's the feeling I get. I don't think they're reaching. And in terms of McCall, if he comes, he comes. If not, I think Hugh Freeze is excited to work with Robbie Ashford and Holden Garner. I do still think you need a 3rd guy, just in case, because Garner and Ashford are 2 different QBs.
Yeah.
Right. And, the pivot that they're going to have to do offensively from Robbie to Holden is going to be pretty significant in my book.
We saw it last year with Finley to Robbie, right? We saw it with going from TJ to Robbie, the offense had to make there's no way the offense we ran the last 5 to 6 games would have worked with TJ as the quarterback.
Right. So we'll see how it goes. But, in my book, they're looking. I just don't think they're pressed.
Yeah. Ben Bloodworth says, if Ole Miss is broken ugly, then Gus is rich and mid.
Listen, Gus is great, man. Like, he just keeps convincing people to give him millions of dollars to just be like regular,
just to be average. Like, again,
yeah.
I don't think that Gus is a bad coach, and I've said this over. That's why I say I'm not bashing him, right? Like, I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think he's great. I think he's okay.
Yeah, like if you don't hire Gus, to me, you just don't hire Gus expecting him to take you to the promised land.
I think you hire him for some really good moments every now and then. He's gonna be a good guy for. Like, I think he's a great coach to mentor young kids as far as like what they're gonna be off the field. I just don't think he's a great football coach. I think he's okay.
Yeah, you know what it's like? It's like, you know, if Gus, Gus is, his whole system is like a package that never gets all the way to the destination, right? Like Gus will get you to the post office where you could drop it off, and then it's going to get lost on the way to his destination. That's Gus, right? Your package will never be delivered. You're never going to get it, right? But he will make sure it gets to the post office for you, and you will get confirmation right after.
Well, I mean, every
you
now and then it'll get delivered to somebody in your neighborhood. Right? Like it'll get close.
Right.
It'll get close to the destination.
And whatever it was, they opened it.
This is 100% truth. My wife ordered these like containers off of Amazon, right? Like she ordered them and we thought they got lost, right? In transit or whatever, because they just never arrived at the door. And I just got curious, I got curious one day and I looked up the tracking on it and I found out they got delivered to somebody in our neighborhood. So I went and I knocked on the door. These people who live across the street from me, I went and knocked on the door and they come to the door. I see the containers, like they've got them stacked up inside their entertainment center, like ready to use them.
Wow.
Like they opened them up and they were, so I was like, so y'all just weren't going, like, you knew you didn't order this. You just opened it and started using it, because they said they called the company and the company was like, oh, our bad, we'll send them some more. And so they were like, okay, well, we'll just keep these. And I was like, no, you're not going to just keep these. Give us our stuff. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I'm going to get the ones they're going to resend too.
Right. I'm telling you, what are you doing? No, you don't just decide, oh, our bad, we sent them to the wrong address. You can just keep those. Oh, that ain't your decision to make.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. When a package goes to the wrong address, it's getting opened. It's getting open because my parents live in the country. So like the walk to the neighbor's house is like a quarter mile. I ain't walking a quarter mile to give you your package. Your package is gone, buddy. Call Amazon. Tell them to deliver to the right address next time. That's Gus. Gus is like,
they were across the street though. Like they don't have a problem. They don't have any excuse.
It went to the wrong address. Your championship went to Bama. Sorry.
All right, we delivered this one to Florida State. I know it was addressed.
Yeah, Nick Saban signed for it. Sorry.
Young KL said, did we already talk about Derek Hall's draft projection? We did not talk about this. We talked. Let me say this. I talked about this last night when I was recording for the A-Man Corner that should be coming out either today or tomorrow. So if you want to hear that conversation with the guys from the A-Man Corner about draft stuff, we talked a little bit about it there, but we haven't talked a lot about it here on the show. So no. But we can definitely, I think part of our conversation Sunday can be about draft projections, because it's going to be interesting to see how many guys we have that will be getting drafted from this team that just, the draft eligible guys, Tank Bigsby, right? Echo Leota, Derek Hall, Kobe Wooden. We've got some guys who could be up there and getting drafted. So Joe Rudolph says, do y'all think Hugh is a way better hire than Gus?
TBD. We hope so. I mean, I think that during his career, he's been at least on par with him. Now, listen, I don't know that his 2 wins versus Bama back-to-back equal Gus's 3 wins versus Bama. But I think that I have to go back and look. I don't remember how convincingly Ole Miss beat Bama in those games. I don't. I know it's been miracle. I think the most convincing win that we've had against Bama has been 2017. That's probably what's the most convincing win we have against Gus had anyway.
Yeah. In recent years for sure.
Yeah, 2013, we all know famously kick 6. 2019, we didn't score enough offense to win that game. 2 pick sixes won it for us for sure. And 2017, Jarrett Stidham's year, it just seemed like I wouldn't call it domination, but I think they won that game.
Yeah, they won that was the one game where I feel like Auburn won, Bama didn't. Well, I mean, Bama Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball like twice in a row, like on a bad snap type of thing. So
yeah, I mean, but it felt like the feeling was they won.
Yeah,
we didn't luck into that one. We just beat them.
Right.
So Is that equal to, is he on? I think he's on par, I think, with Gus at this point. And but he was at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
So can he achieve more at Auburn? The general feeling has been yes, right? Any coach that's Ole Miss and comes to Auburn is going to have more resources. They're going to have a better time recruiting if they try, and they should be able to win at a higher level at Auburn. So we'll see. We won't be able to know this for sure until he's coached at Auburn for a couple of years, I think.
Yeah. Hugh Rayleigh jumps in. Can Holden run any? I don't know. We asked him.
We're going to find out this spring.
Yeah, but say he didn't want to take my video challenge and post something. So, or at least he hasn't done it yet. So we'll see.
When we go to practice this spring, Ike, we might sit down with Holden and just do a whole segment on, listen, do your legs work, sir? Have you ever run before? Is there a documented 40 time for you anywhere?
Right.
And then maybe we'll get his teammates together and he'll run a 40 in front of the whole team. And we'll see that 5'3".
We'll land the plane on this one. B Will jumps in and says, Amen Corner is the best college football podcast in 16 years. So
he's making fun of himself there.
That's an appropriate way for us to end this. All right, we are out of here, man. We appreciate you guys jumping in. As always, support our sponsors, the Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com, using code Rapport. Make sure you get your spelling up and get everything correct in there. 10% off of your purchase. We will get back at you guys. Pre-game coming up against West Virginia this Saturday or tomorrow. Today's Friday, so tomorrow we got West Virginia game pre-game coming in there, and then otherwise we'll hit you on the weekend tailgate on Sunday. See you guys later. As always, War Eagle, we are out of here. Peace.